We have a full house, it looks like today. Got a lot of business to do, so we'll try to get you in and out as quickly as possible, but just bear with us as conversations sometimes go a little farther than maybe we just enjoy that. All right. Magistrate Gay, would you have our invocation, please?
I will. Let us pray. Gracious Heavenly Father, we thank you for this opportunity to gather in peace as we know and ask your mercy and blessing on those around the world, those in Israel, and those in Ukraine that are dealing with the terrible atrocities of war and terrorism. And Father, just be with them and give them peace and comfort and strength. And Father, we ask that you be with this court as we contemplate and make the decisions that affect the citizens of this great county. In your Son, Jesus' name, we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. If you'll stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated. We have prior meeting minutes from September 12th meeting.
Make a motion we approve.
Motion by Magistrate Cullen, is there a second? Second. Second by Magistrate Bodner. Any discussion? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Motion carries. Approved bills, Ms. Elena?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Alrighty. Today's amount of bills we need to approve is $710,677.06. There are no last minute add-ons.
Make a motion to approve. Okay, motion by Magistrate Bodner,
Second.
second by Magistrate Sleeper. Any discussion on the bills? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Motion carries. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Go get those checks ready for me.
All right. Get your signing hand ready.
Okay, we have budget transfers. Ms. Darlene?
Okay. I just have 3 this morning, so I've got 2 from general. They total $11,559.14. And just one small one from opioid fund over to, within opioid fund. It is just $20. So my total today is $11,579.14.
Move we approve budget transfers as presented.
Okay, have a motion by Magistrate Gay. Is there a second? Second by Magistrate Harmon. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Motion carries. And we have cash transfers.
Cash transfers, I only have 2. I'm moving a payment that had been put into general, needs to go over to Public Works, so there's $22.24. And then there's $10,000 for operations going into fleet management. Total of $10,022.24.
Okay, motion to approve.
I make a motion to approve.
Magistrate Bodner, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Magistrate Sleeper. Any discussion on the cash transfers? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Motion carries. Thank you, ma'am.
I also realized I forgot last month to include your checks for the month of August. So towards the end of the packet, you'll have your check registers for August and September back.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Okay, old business, we have the Constitution Square roof contract, and I think Julie is going to talk about that.
Okay, you approved the bids last month. These are the contracts. I do have one amendment on the alternative bid, and that amount is listed as $237,510. We will remove the $65,000, that's what I was just trying to do the math, $65,864.10, which is the alternate 5, which is the row houses. So we will remove that from the 2, got to toggle back, from the 237?
237,510.
510, and assign the contract with that removed.
Okay.
The other one is exactly as presented, 109,098.00. That's for the cabins. So with your permission, Jolie can electronically sign these and we'll get this project ready.
Make the motion that we authorize the judge to sign the contracts.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion by Magistrate Gay, a second by Magistrate Ellis. Any discussion on the contracts?
Judge, I was very pleased to see on the news, and I may get this wrong, I think it was a COSAIR fundraiser, but I found out that Mulberry Builders was quite involved in that over in Lexington, so that was another affirmation that it's a good organization that we'll be working with, and I was pleased with their comments when they were here last month.
Very good. Thank you.
And before anybody asks when they'll get started, it is based on getting materials in, so that's why we're a little anxious.
And when do we pay them?
When, by draw, they don't get any money up front.
All right, any other discussion? Those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Motion carries. And then home incarceration?
Yes, we are going to withdraw that from the agenda pending some conversation with the county attorney and the bidder.
So we are going to table this until the next meeting?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think we'll have it ready by then.
Okay. Can I get a motion to table?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you.
Second. Motion by Magistrate Ellis, second by Magistrate Cullen to table the home incarceration program agreement until the next meeting. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Motion carries. We'll get together. Okay. All right, new business, we have some proclamations for the week and the month of October. The first one is the Kentucky Extension Homemakers Week. Whereas the Kentucky Extension Homemakers Association Incorporated has 11,299 members and more than 720 clubs throughout the Commonwealth, and whereas this organization is dedicated to improving the quality of life for families and communities through education, leadership development, and volunteer service. And whereas the organization has worked to achieve this mission for 90 years, providing service in communities across Kentucky, and whereas this organization continues to endeavor to strengthen, develop, coordinate, and extend adult education in family and consumer sciences in cooperation with the University of Kentucky Cooperative Extension Service. And whereas the members of the Boyle County Extension Homemakers are strong leaders, willing volunteers, skilled educators, family and friends from across our county. Boyle County Homemakers completed hundreds of hours of volunteer service in 22-23, including projects that benefit Heritage Hospice, Ephraim McDowell Hospital, and raising funds to award annual scholarships. Now therefore, I, Trilly L. Bottom, Judge Executive of the Boyle County Fiscal Court, do hereby proclaim October the 8th through the 14th as Kentucky Extension Homemakers Week, and urge all citizens to participate in Boyle County Extension Homemaker activities. Done this 10th day of October, 2023. So that is the first one. I don't know if we have any homemakers with us today. Okay.
Make a motion, we approve.
All right.
Second.
Motion by Magistrate Cullen, second by Magistrate Ellis. Is there any discussion? I want to say Magistrate Tom, and I knew that was a professional. So. All right. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Motion carries. All right, the second one is the 2023 Fire Prevention Week, and we have our County Fire Chief with us today. Thank you for being here. Whereas in 1920, President Woodrow Wilson proclaimed October 9th the first Fire Prevention Day, calling on the public to learn more about the risks of deadly fires and commemorating the thousands who had lost their lives to these tragedies. And whereas home fires killed more than 2,800 people in the United States in 2021, according to the National Fire Protection Association, and fire departments in the United States responded to 338,000 home fires. And whereas cooking is the leading cause of home fires in the United States, and fire departments responded to more than 166,400 annually between 2016 and 2020. And whereas 2 of every 5 home fires start in the kitchen, with 31% of these fires resulting from unattended cooking, and more than half of reported non-fatal home cooking fire injuries occurred when the victims tried to fight the fire themselves. And whereas working smoke alarms cut the risk of dying in reported home fires almost in half, and whereas residents who have planned and practiced a home fire escape plan are more prepared and will therefore be more likely to survive a fire. And whereas Boyle County's first responders are dedicated to reducing the occurrence of home fires and home fire injuries through prevention and protection education. And whereas the 2023 Fire Prevention Week theme, Cooking Safety Starts With You, Pay Attention to Fire Protection, effectively serves to remind us to stay alert and to use caution when cooking to reduce the risk of kitchen fires. Therefore, I, Trilly L. Bottom, Judge Executive, do hereby proclaim October the 8th through the 14th, 2023 as Fire Prevention Week throughout this county, and I urge all citizens to check their kitchens for fire hazards, check your smoke detectors, and use safe cooking practices during Fire Prevention Week 2023, and to support the many safety activities and the efforts of the Boyle County Fire Protection District and other emergency response services, done this October 10th, 2023. And I'm going to sign this, and then Chief, if you would come up. Did we not do these? Oh. So what did we get? Two. Okay. I want to thank you and your department for the fine job that you all do in protecting the people of Boyle County. Thank you very much.
And thank you for doing this.
Yeah. All right, and we'll get you one of these.
And get it posted on our firehouse.
That's right. All right. Thank you so much. Appreciate you being here.
Thank you.
Okay, and the last proclamation is the 2023 Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Whereas October is National Breast Cancer Awareness Month, which is an annual campaign to increase awareness of this disease, and whereas National Breast Cancer Awareness Month remains dedicated to increasing public knowledge and the importance of early detection of breast cancer diagnosis and treatment. Whereas the Boyle County Fiscal Court supports breast cancer research and wishes to educate the people of Boyle County about detection, risk factors, and treatment. And whereas the American Cancer Society continues to advise women to get an annual mammogram screening once they reach the age of 40. Whereas we urge all Boyle County women to follow medical advice by getting annual mammograms, most of which are at no cost to women. Now therefore be it proclaimed at the Boyle County Fiscal Court that the month of October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. During this month, the Boyle County Fiscal Court recognizes breast cancer survivors, those battling the disease and their families, who are a source of love and encouragement, and applaud the efforts of our medical professionals and researchers working tirelessly every day to eradicate this terrible disease. And the theme for October is in October we wear pink. So kudos to everyone that puts on something pink for the month of October in recognition of Breast Cancer Awareness Month.
I got on my glasses.
Yeah. We have a motion to approve this one.
So moved. Second.
All right, motion by Magistrate Gay, second by Magistrate Cullen. Any discussion?
We didn't do the fire.
Yeah, I was gonna say, we didn't do
We'll
fire.
back up.
We'll back
Yeah.
up. Okay,
Yeah.
yes. No.
All right. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. Motion carries. All right, we'll back up and we'll have a
make a
motion
motion
to
on
approve the
fire.
fire. Okay.
Now second.
Motion by Magistrate Cullen, second by Magistrate Bodner. Thank you all for keeping me on my toes. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. Motion carries. Thank you. Okay, next, I have a letter from the Parksville Water District. This is from Debbie Webb, the manager of the Parksville Water District. She writes, I respectfully request that Stephen Mays be appointed to fill the unexpired term of his father, Richard Mays. The term will expire December 31st, 2024. And Stephen is with us today, and we have a certificate of appointment once approved.
I'll make
Magistrate-
that motion.
I thought Magistrate Ellis wanted to make that.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Will you second it for him, or Paula can second it? Okay,
Thank you.
all right.
I do make that motion. Stephen's a wonderful family member of a long-term family in this community and a great farmer. I see him across the road rather frequently cutting hay, so welcome aboard.
All right, have a motion by Magistrate Ellis, a second by Magistrate Bodner. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. Motion carries. Stephen, if you'll come up, we'll present you with your certificate of appointment. And we have to get a photo, you know that. All right, thank you, appreciate it. Thanks for being here.
Yep.
Okay, we also have an employee anniversary. Is Shannon with us? Shannon, there you are. I did not even see you back there. Okay, Shannon Greene started out as our HR 10 years ago, and she has taken care of the employees of this county for a long time, and now she has evolved into payroll and kind of splitting the HR position with Steve Griffin. So Shannon, we want to give you a certificate of appreciation and grateful recognition for your 10 years of service and contributions to the citizens of Boyle County.
Another constituent.
We appreciate your service. Thank you. That's right. It's all about you, Daytona.
I need to sign up.
Got great folks.
That's right.
Okay, sounds good, thanks.
See?
All right.
See ya.
See
Y'all
y'all.
have a great day.
Great day.
Okay, next is Gathering Place Director, Ben Guerrant.
Good morning.
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 I appreciate the opportunity to come before you today. And today, I would humbly ask the court to consider adjourning in honor of Anita Pike. Anita passed on July 31st of 2023 at home, and we at a Gathering Place are heartbroken and share that with the community as we all grieve together. Anita began working here in September of 1995 with a passion and a fire for her clients that she kept aflame during her nearly 28 years at the center. She had immeasurable impact on all she met, loving each and every one as though they were her own family. Anita worked tirelessly to make sure that everyone who entered the building felt welcome. She would laugh with them, cry with them, celebrate their victories, overcome obstacles together, and always put her needs last in service of those in her care. Most of all, she loved every single one of the clients from the moment they walked through the door. Words cannot express how we all feel as we mourn our dear Anita. Though small in stature, she was huge in heart. Anita was a presence in our daycare whose absence will be felt for years to come. I speak for all of us at the center in saying that she was a compassionate and wonderful woman whom we are proud to have worked alongside. She was an amazing mother and grandmother and an advocate for the clients that she loved so dearly. But most of all, Anita was our friend. She will be missed. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Ben. I can attest to being out there on several occasions, mostly around Christmas time, and Anita would be one of the ones that would just come up to you and just thank you so much for coming and just tell you how much the clients out there appreciated people coming in and bringing them gifts and things like that. And she was just a wonderful, wonderful person, and I know she was a great asset for you all.
Absolutely. She kept me in line.
I don't think we need a formal motion on that, but we can certainly adjourn in memory of Anita.
Thank you all very much. I appreciate that, and I know her family does too.
Thank you for
Thank
that
you
wonderful,
very much. We
thank you
appreciate
for that
it.
wonderful tribute.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Okay, next is our CVB Director, Kendall Clinton.
Good morning.
Good morning.
We had a busy past few days with Bourbon Chase
Yeah.
and commemoration over in Perryville, but got lots to do coming up. Next week, we're going to be working with a show called Fishing University. We're sponsoring them to come to Danville and do an episode at Harrington Lake. So they're going to be here for 3 days, starting next Wednesday through Friday. They'll be filming daily out on the lake. They got their host to be on the boats. And they're going to do a program at the Boyle County High School with the fishing club. They'll come in and talk to the club.
Fishing, Friday, fish dinner.
It's just a quick presentation. They're going to film the fishing club, talking to them, talking about outdoor opportunities. They'll have somebody from Fish and Wildlife come in and speak as well.
That's awesome.
That will air sometime in 2024 on the Outdoor Channel, CBS Sports, and WFN. It'll air a number of times. It'll appeal to a different demographic than we normally have. So we'll be reaching a new audience. They'll learn more about Boyle County and Harrington Lake. You all may have seen a video that was recently released on Facebook, and it's on YouTube. It's called Joyride. It's part of a bigger campaign. We're a member of the Bluegrass Tourism Region, which is 16 tourism offices. we meet once a month and talk about different ways to promote the region as a whole. So when ARPA funds became available, we applied for an ARPA grant. We got the maximum amount, it was $500,000. And we started working with an agency called Coomer out of Lexington to put together a campaign for us. So we settled on Joyride. The idea being, come to Central Kentucky, take a joyride through the back roads, see some of our iconic locations. We applied for another $500,000 grant, and then we have a total of $1 million to spend on this campaign. So to kick it off, Coomer was able to get Mike Wolf from American Pickers, which was a huge deal for us because he doesn't just do any campaign. So Mike came to the region back in August and filmed, him and his crew filmed this video, and you'll see Danville and Boyle County in there, I think maybe in 3 different places. But I'll play the video for you so you can see how this campaign kicked off and get an idea what Joyride's all about.
Flight delays and baggage claim, nobody dreams of TSA lines. The joys of America's open road is right here.
We're gonna split it, and then we're gonna let Country Ham. See,
She's a natural.
You can take the girl out of Kentucky, but you can't take the country out of girl.
I remember all this.
I'm remember this.
Misbehave and you'll get some.
Take the scenic route. You may just find yourself there.
Buffalo Trace, 8-year-old whiskey. It's stout, but it's really smooth.
On the main streets and 2-lane back roads, rolling hills, places where time stands still, full of wonder and wild. There's no better place to get lost than Kentucky's bluegrass. Take a joyride.
Love it.
So that was the kickoff of the campaign, and we got an update on Friday from Coomer that's doing the campaign for us, and he said that video has been viewed hundreds of thousands of times, and the impressive thing is the follow-through rate. I think it was like 68% of people watched at least half of it, and like 40% watched the entire video. He said that's best stats he's ever seen and been involved in. It's a good video. So that was the launch. There's more to come. We have a year left to utilize the funds to do some more things. Coomer has created several assets that there's 16 different tourism offices involved. So they've created designs for us. Each county has their own design. Ours has got Constitution Square on it. They're all pretty uniform. If you look at them, you can tell they're part of this campaign. They all have the same kind of style. Each one focuses on an iconic location in the county, like Boone Tavern and Buffalo Trace in Frankfort. So you'll see more of that getting rolled out in the coming months, and hopefully we'll get a lot of traffic out of the campaign.
You said the ARPA funds, those were ARPA funds?
Yeah, it was $1 million, and we had to put in 10%, so it's actually $1.1 million total.
They're not going to be taken back or anything?
No, they've already given us the money.
Oh, okay.
But we do have to do certain things. We have to document how the money's spent. We have to use the Team Kentucky logo on everything. So we're making sure we're doing everything so we don't end up having to pay anything back. But it's been a good campaign so far. I think you'll have financial impact reports in your binders. This was released a few weeks ago, but it's still worth talking about. 2022 was a very good year for tourism in Kentucky and Boyle County. All the numbers were up from 21 and up from 2019, the last year that mattered until COVID. But the stats show that there are 656 tourism-dependent jobs in Boyle County, creating $18 million in labor income. And tourism spending was around $76 million in the county, and that brought in, or generated about $6 million in state and local taxes. So only way to go up from here, or only place to go from here is up. So hopefully it'll be next summer before we get the 2023 numbers. But from all indications, we kind of look at the room tax revenue and how that's going. That kind of gives us a good indication of how things are going. But this study they do looks at a number of factors. They look at the Smith Travel Research report, room reports, and I think there's like 8 different things they look at to come up with this. So it's a lot more accurate than what we'd be able to do right.
So did the stats from this determine why we're getting a new hotel?
That's just demand.
Okay.
The Smith Travel Research shows our occupancy rates locally, and we have one of the highest occupancy rates for a town our size. It compares us against, I think, 10 or 11 different cities that are in our size category, and our occupancy rate's much higher than most of them, sometimes double.
Awesome.
And some weekends we sell out.
That's fantastic.
Judge, one of the exciting things that I'm aware of, that we're about to be aware of, is that when we name our new Parks and Rec director, you're going to see some increases there too. I'm excited about what he has to offer.
Yeah.
I have one question,
Sure.
if I may.
Yes, ma'am.
Somebody pointed out in an ad that you posted about this campaign that nowhere did it say Boyle County, it just said Danville. Was that intentional?
Right, so the campaign, so we have 16 different basically posters, and there's some social media designs, and for uniform design, it says Team Kentucky on the left side, Joyride in the middle, and then Bluegrass Region on the right side. So they're all the same. They have different imagery, but as far as how they're designed, that was a region decision, so we didn't have.
I'd like to provide a little input on that. We are, as fiscal court, a part of economic development for the entire community. This is a very sensitive issue with me, especially with Constitution Square and my assignment to be involved with Constitution Square. And easy persuasion on something like this, and I want this to go out to all entities in Boyle County when they're getting things printed like this. An ask on this would have been easily agreed to, and just those 2 or 3 words added to it would not have been an impediment to getting it approved. So please, in the future, be sensitive to that.
Is this the one that's going to be on the T-shirt?
That's the T-shirt design.
T-shirt
the
design.
poster is basically that with, it's squared, it's got some...
See, once again, I learned that this morning, and there's no mention, and the community probably doesn't know that our taxpayers, through us, are paying for Constitution Square. And if these T-shirts aren't printed yet, I would implore you to see if you can go in and get that design changed before they are.
I like it. Looks good. Thank you.
All right, I mentioned Bourbon Chase. We had a really good weekend, about 3,000 runners downtown. Great comments about how downtown looks, and the party put on for them. We had live music, 2 different bands. We had a 360 photo booth, which was hugely popular. And of course, they got to download their video, share on social media. So
I even saw a dog in one of them.
the dog was the best. I asked the guy in the booth what his best thing he's ever had, and he said it was the dog.
The dog, yeah.
That's pretty cool. Last thing I'll mention is a campaign my assistant actually came up with, Candace Arnold. We're going to have something called Pumpkins in the Park at Constitution Square. People are able to fill out a form, decorate a pumpkin, it has to be painted, and they'll be on display for 7 days toward the end of October on the walls there at Governor's Circle. Mimi Becker with the Arts Commission is going to get a couple other people to judge. We'll give little gift cards away. But hopefully this is something that we can use to grow in the future. We've already had some other ideas about things to add, but getting people involved and getting interested in it and showing what it's going to be like will help next year if we can grow it, maybe add scarecrows or an event related to it. But a lot of excitement about it. A lot of people have already said they're going to paint pumpkins.
Yeah, so your flyer says no carving, so they have to be paint or applique.
Right.
Okay, that's interesting.
And once again, to drive home the point, It's at Constitution Square, and we're 100% responsible for that. And I'd like to see in the future that that would also include our name and that.
That's it, unless y'all have any questions about anything.
Done a great job, Kendall, thank you.
Thanks.
Appreciate the report, and appreciate all the activities that are going on. Yeah, bringing a name to Danville County. All right, next we have Mark Morgan, and going to introduce our new Parks and Rec Director. Very exciting.
A lot of you have already met Tommy Barton, and I am truly honored to stand here and introduce him to the court. After we received over 50 applications, local, across the state, and from other states, we reviewed all of the resumes and submissions. We sent nearly 20 essay questions to answer. Based on that input, after reviewing that, and this was both a city and a county effort, shared under the July 2020 Memorandum of Agreement on how we run in a cooperative fashion, collaborative fashion, our Parks and Recreation. Then we got it down to nearly 10, and we had 2 days of interviews, face-to-face interviews. And then we got it down to 2, and our county judge executive, our city manager, and myself as chair of the Parks and Rec committee that was formed by that memorandum of agreement, interviewed 2. And I was hoping that the committee would choose Tommy Barton, and they did. So Tommy, I'm not going to tell you all the things he's done. If he wants to say a few words just to give you a little background or give you all a chance to have a short conversation with him, as the, Judge Bottoms says is appropriate, then help yourself.
Sure.
Yeah, welcome.
Thank you all very much, and I appreciate Mark and all he's done for me. I am very happy to be here and honored I was selected for this position. Just to let you know a little bit about myself, I grew up in northern Illinois, small town, son of a dairy farmer, so I know how to roll my sleeves up and get into Mark. I have been a Parks and Rec director for over 22 years, 2 different positions. My latest job was in Muhlenberg County, which I'm sure some of you are familiar with. Muhlenberg County, Kentucky did not have a Parks and Rec program or system at all when I started. In 2011, I had a small desk in the basement of a bank. Since then, we were able to provide $16 million worth of facilities for the county, raised it to over 30 employees in the park system, and created year-long programming throughout the county. We fixed up, I want to say, over 15 small community, which I call community parks, which were, all throughout. If you're familiar with Muhlenberg County, it's a pretty large county with several small towns amongst it. I was charged in the beginning with providing 2 main goals: quality of life for the citizens of the county, and economic development through sports tourism and travel tournaments. I did a schedule of, along with our county programming for all the youth and adults. We put on over, I want to say 2023 was our biggest year. We had over 30 sports tourism events, travel tournaments, which our what we called Tourism Commission brought over. They provided us with the information that all the restaurants within the area saw a 30% increase in sales on those weekends. So I love the fact that the same kind of setup here with Millennial Park. Another little background. I toured Millennial Park back in 2011. I was building my new park, or the county's park, and I toured it and visited Danville with the architect because we used the same architect. that's when I red flagged Danville and have been looking at it ever since. I wasn't throwing my resume out, but when I saw Danville was looking for it, I jumped on the opportunity because I think it's a beautiful place to live. I think the downtown and the surrounding area is beautiful. So with that said, if you have any questions that I may answer, I've been here a week, so I don't know how much I can answer. I'm getting to know my staff, which are very capable and have done a great job so far. I'm learning the facilities. I've toured the county with the city engineer, Josh. He has shown me Junction City Park, and we visited Allen Springs and looking over the area for the mountain bike course, hopefully. We were talking about it yesterday a little bit and going over the connecting trails that seem to be a passion of Josh's. And so I look forward to working with him. I'm excited to work with him. His deep love of the area is very very palatable. So, if you have any questions, feel free to.
Well, first of all, we want to say we welcome, and we are
Thank
very
you.
happy to have you here,
Thank
and
you.
we are looking for big things down the road. Feel free to come in and talk with me at any time about anything to do with Parks and Rec. So,
Sure. That's great.
any of the magistrates have any
As
comments?
a nurse, I just think, the better our park system, the healthier our kids.
That's
So, just providing in the communities, like you said you did in Muhlenberg, go into the communities and start providing more activities while keeping our wonderful Millennium Park going.
Correct.
And staying up on everything. So I'm very supportive.
Thank you.
Tommy, when we met last week at the Parks and Rec committee meeting, I brought up fishing, and obviously you can coordinate right there with Kendall Clinton,
Right.
because he's on top of that. All over the state, and even in my wife's Western Kentucky, Colwell and Lyon County, they're getting these flyers from folks who want a contract on hunting. If you go out, and you can't hunt there, but if you go out to the battlefield on any one given night, you're going to see 20 to 30, 35 deer out there. So imagine what it is in our 20 plus miles of ridgeland out there. Tremendous opportunities there for more influx of hunters, not only from Kentucky, but all around the country. I hope that you'll look at that as an opportunity for expansion as well.
Absolutely.
Tommy, thank you. When I talk to constituents in my district, sometimes some of our parks are the best kept secret.
Yeah, that's true.
And so I really appreciate you being on board.
Yes. I came in, as they say, it was kismet. I got a really good duplex that just fell into my hands, and I moved in Thursday. I toured all the parks that I found on our website, just walked them all, and I was, one stood out, Jackson Park. Now it is tough, it's kind of tough way to get in there, and you have to go through the cul-de-sacs, but once you're there, it opens up, and like I said, it looks to me, I FaceTimed my wife and said, this is like a mini Central Park. I mean, it was the way it is surrounded by houses, but yet it just opens up beautifully. I mean, it's beautiful. So it's not just a Millennium Park. There's a lot of other stuff here, and we hopefully on that tour, I don't want to say disappointed, but I saw the disparage of the south of Main Street parks, and I was like, oh, these need a little more work. And but when I got to work Monday, Josh informed me of the work that's going to be done in Michael Smith Park. So I see that it is recognized, and that is our goal to make it even throughout the county. That everybody has.
Our smaller parks are still important.
That's right.
Not related to the parks, but you've probably noticed already that we're Titletown here, and I think you have a slight affiliation with football.
Football? No, I'm not really a football guy.
Your son?
No, my son was a baseball player.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he was a baseball player.
Well, we got good ones there too.
Which I've met a lot of old baseball coaches. I haven't met any football coaches.
Mr.
But I
Kamrick on your committee.
Yeah, but it seems that the football looks like they're hard at work. So. I'm excited. Actually, my son visited today. Like I said, I moved to Muhlenberg County, as a middle-aged man, but my son was my son was a 10-year-old, so he's 21 now, and so he's grown there, and so I was excited. He's on spring break this week. He came in last night, and it was really a test to see. I'm hoping that he loved Danville. We walked downtown. We ate at Cosa Nostra. And he was impressed. And of course, he has friends that go to Center College, and he was texting with them. So I'm just thankful that it's not gonna be. I'm not gonna have to pull him, drag him here. I think he wants to come here too. My wife is excited. She's a newspaper editor in Muhlenberg County, but what we call her side hustle is she's a pottery. She makes pottery. So she can't wait to come because of the fluent art scene here. So we are excited to be part of such a progressive community, and I look forward to working with all of you.
Mr. Cullen, did you have a comment?
I was just going to say that we meet on the second and fourth Tuesdays of every month, and we encourage and appreciate any attendance
Sure.
you might have and updates that you'll provide the court, so that
Sure.
way we can pass it on to our constituents.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I do have my email and phone set up. My email is tbarton@danvilleky.com. I will gladly share my cell phone
Privately.
with you, and that way you can pass it on to all the magistrates. So.
I want to jump in real quick. Jason, under that memorandum of agreement, this has not been enforced, and I'm working hard as chair to get this enforced, but the Parks and Rec director should make at least quarterly reports to the fiscal court and to the city commission. The more time I've spent with Tommy, the more confident I am that you'll hear from him more than that when there's an opportunity for the fiscal court to, you all as magistrates, to help solve problems and to promote an activity or an idea. You'll probably hear from him, and I think that meeting that quarterly obligation at a minimum will be exceeded.
Okay. Yes, in Muhlenberg County, I had what I say many bosses. We had, I don't know if you're familiar with it, but there's Central City and Greenville, the two kind of main cities. They had representation on our board. The fiscal court each had every magistrate and judge had a member on our board. The school district had a member on our board. So we really tried to work together and keep the whole community informed on what was going on.
Prior to the agreement that he was talking about, Tom and I served on the Parks and Rec committee.
Okay.
And so that's why, Tom's always there, and when I'm in town, I try to attend them.
Right.
It seems like they conflict with our economic development meetings or whatever, so, but when possible, I will attend as well.
Great. We look forward to it.
And we keep communication going, Tom, Jason, myself, and I'm sure Tommy will be included in those communications in the future.
Correct.
And my name's Paula Bodner, and you'll definitely hear from me.
All right. All right. Okay.
Alan Franks.
I was pleased.
Junction City.
I was pleased that Tommy got out to the Junction City Park and to the Allen
Yes,
Springs.
I picked
Hopefully,
that up.
aspirational mountain bike
That's right.
park. in the
Yes.
future.
Right.
That could be a real gem.
Yes.
A true gem for
Yes.
our community.
And I furnished my duplex from the used furniture place in Junction City.
Yeah.
I love that place. My wife loved that place.
It is fun to
Thank
go
you.
in there.
Thank you both for being here.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Welcome. We're
Sure.
excited that you're here.
Thank you all.
We're gonna
Thank
have to take off, if that's okay.
That's big mics, right?
We've got
Good luck.
a lot going on.
Appreciate the time.
Y'all have a good day.
Thank you.
Just over.
Okay, next we have Jessica Wigginton and Sonya Kirkpatrick with Mend the Line. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you all for having us. We should have a section in your packet about us. Just a quick background. Sonya and I have been working as therapists in the area for several years. I own Danville Counseling Center. We've jointly opened up the training center, and we have seen just such a huge need amongst our first responder population that we have decided to go ahead. We have formed a nonprofit. It is called Men to the Line, and this is something that's close to our hearts. Sonya has been an EMT for 20 years. I grew up in a family of first responders. You can read about that if you like. But working with them is something that we're very passionate about, and we want to do extremely well in our community, not just us, and really across the state. So with our training, we had initially set out to train therapists to work more culturally competently with our first responders. We have done some of that, but it has morphed into working more directly with our departments and providing more advocacy and education to our first responders. And so that is where Men the Line comes in. I'm going to let Sonya share a little bit about the need in our specific Boyle County area.
So at the bottom, there's some statistics about police, fire, EMS, dispatchers, things like that. But one thing to remember in these studies, the police officers, that also includes the corrections officers, they're not separated. So whenever we look at the numbers of first responders that are actually in Boyle County, and Chad Holderman with the jail got back to me yesterday. So the number of first responders in Boyle County is over 700, because there was more at the jail than I realized whenever I did the initial numbers. So it's over 700, but there's 80 police positions between the PD and the SO. Some of those may not be filled according to those organizations, but that's how many positions they have. So we went ahead and added that. Between Danville Fire, Boyle Fire, Perryville, and Junction, there's 146 firefighters. There's 45 EMS, give or take a few, due to fluctuation at Boyle County EMS. There's 15 dispatchers at the 911 center, and there's over 400 corrections between North Point and Boyle County Detention Center. So whenever you kind of look at those statistics with those numbers, that's a lot of people that are affected. And one thing that we have found with working with first responders, and we have done the trainings, they have questions on how to talk to their family members. You know, their kids, their spouses, their significant others, or whatever. So with Men to Line, we have added that aspect of family too, because there's nothing for that. With veterans, you'll see a lot of stuff with families, but with first responders, it's very, very few and far between. We haven't found anything really in our state that offers training such as this. There are some support groups that are religious-based out of churches, which is amazing, but not everybody is in that population, so we don't want to leave anyone out. And with the name Men the Line, some normal people, as we call the general population, don't understand that name, but men just fix or repair, and the line with police, it's blue line. Fire department's red line. EMS is the white line. Dispatch is yellow, and corrections is gray. So whenever we say that to a first responder, they're like, we love the name, it makes sense. General population is like, what's the name about? But once we tell them, they're like, makes perfect sense. So we just really want to open it up, especially in Boyle County, because we're based out of Danville. We're just here across from CDS. We have done some trainings with Mike Rogers. He welcomed us at Boyle County EMS, and they loved it. I don't think we got to all the employees. We got to a lot of the employees, but there's a lot that we didn't get to just because of the funding with them and with us and things like that. And we have trained at Danville, at Junction, at Nicholasville, which is not in Boyle, but you know, we've traveled to other places. So we just want to open this up where we can kind of become more needed, I guess, or available. Yeah, people to know that this service is out there. And we want to offer it at no cost to the agencies, because we know a lot of them don't have that budget. And so we don't want anybody to be left out because they don't have a training budget to be able to get outside, you know, providers.
And so looking at that, one of the things that we wanted to bring to you all is a request for funding. We did not know at budget time last year that we would be doing this now. And we will definitely have a proposal together on the paper through Katina to send in for the new budget year. But we would like to provide a training a month for the families, and it would average out to a training a month for the departments in the area. To put those trainings on, it's about $600. And so 2 trainings a month is $1,200 a month. We also want to be able, as Mend the Line, to help individuals who can't afford to access services by covering or helping cover some of the cost for services. So we would request an additional $300 a month to put towards that fund from you all. We are also seeking funding through grants, private foundations, and we're hosting a fundraiser, and we will continue to host. Hopefully it goes really well. Every
What's your
year.
fundraiser?
So the fundraiser is the Heroes Halloween Bash, and it is on Facebook. It's at the showroom on October 28th, and I would ask if everybody can, please help us get the word out for that. We are splitting the funds this year. Here's the flyer. If you want to
Yeah, leave that with us.
We're splitting the funds this year between Camp Hero and the Chip Terry Fund. And so those are other nonprofits that work in a similar way as Mend the Line.
And they're both in Kentucky.
They're both in Kentucky, and amazing, absolutely amazing organizations. But,
because we won't get any of the funds from the
From this.
fundraiser. We already had that in the works before we even
got the paperwork back from Mend the Line.
for us. So, and they have helped so many in our area, and it's kind of crazy to think how many first responders in our area they have helped, because we have several first responders. I think between Jessica and I, we see 35 to 40, just the two of us. First responders, first responder families, things like that. So
In Boyle County?
yeah, oh yes. And we have, most of those are Boyle County residents. We do have some that drive from different areas, but most of them work in Boyle County. They may see us on their way out or things like that, you know, after a shift. But
So
there's,
what kind of training, like give me an example of what kind of training you would do?
Yes, so the current training that we're offering is mental health ending the stigma, and it goes over what you might expect to experience as a first responder and how to cope with that. So you think about everybody in this room not a first responder, you're gonna see maybe 1 to 3 traumatic experiences in your life. When we went and trained with Mike and his department last week, they had 3 critical incidents per week.
Okay.
So we talk about what that experience is like and how to manage that, what to watch for, how to monitor, you know, when you just need to increase some of your self-care and other coping skills, when to seek services, what kind of services are available, that kind of thing. It's a very, very valuable training. We've gotten amazing feedback from it.
and we talk about the barriers to seeking mental health treatment, trying to normalize that and letting them know that we know that that's a thing, you know, whether it's money or schedule or just the feeling of being seen as weak or, you know, just whatever it is. But we go from that and normalize that. And even though there's certain parts of their job that are normal parts of the job that they can't get around, it doesn't mean it's not affecting them. So we normalize that and point that out. But then we go into, you know, suicide statistics, we go into the types of treatment that are effective for treating mental health. In first responders, PTSD, critical incident stress, you know, things like that. And then, you know, we give some examples of what to do, how to cope, what to do if you're friends, you know, you notice things in your friends. So it's very all-encompassing because they have a lot of PTSD-only trainings, but it's not a PTSD-only training. And we go into the science behind it and why it changes the brain chemistry and the way that you react to just normal stressors. So, and that's the side that a lot of people say, this makes sense why my spouse points out to me that I overreact, or why my kids point out to me that I overreact. And so that's why we really see that it's very necessary to talk to families about it, because the divorce rate is very high with first responders, and that contributes a lot to it. It's just not knowing the culture, the job, and how it may change a person.
I just ran across the street to get a quick drink, and the lady, she's like, "Oh, what are you doing over here?" So we're going to talk about Mend the Line. She says, "What's that?" And she's like, "I can tell you how hard it is being a police wife." You know, she was a police wife. So it's something that even just, you know, you don't realize how many people it's impacting.
No, you're okay. Judge, we talked about this morning.
Good.
And, you know, we're introduced to it. Since it is an ask that we'll have to go back through the budget, my only recommendation would be that we allow the Finance Committee to kind of meet on this, which is great because Paul is also on the EMS committee, and then bring in Mike Rogers on it and
Okay.
talk about it with Darlene to see if, where the funds are.
Right.
And how we go ahead and move around and just, I think it should go through the finance committee first. And this might be
And
what
that's a
we,
good idea.
I think what we do going forward, anything outside of the partnership, sponsorship stuff that we do, kind of, we request that it go through the finance committee.
Okay.
That way we don't put Darlene on the spot
Yeah.
with
That's
stuff.
exactly what I thought last week, or last this, I thought we need to not do that.
Yeah.
Not,
Yeah,
since we've already gone through the process and the budget's set, we don't want to call you out on the spot to instantly come up with all this information, so I agree with that, so. Yes.
Well,
But anybody else-
We're all up there. That's a great idea.
So for you all, this is not a no, but this
No,
is an
right.
opportunity for our finance committee to take a look and see what we can do and how we do it. And it
And-
gives our opportunity for our,
Are you the chair?
huh?
Is there a chair of the finance committee, Darlene?
Well,
Okay.
yeah, Magistrate Gay.
Mr. Gay, I can type up what I've just talked
Okay,
about, so
great.
you
That
can
would be
have it
great.
in writing,
Fantastic.
and I
That'd be
will
great.
email it to you.
Thank you.
But that is something that we really want.
Katina has your all's contact information,
Yes.
so once they meet, then she can reach out to you on it,
Right.
what to do.
Yeah.
Yes, and maybe if Katina could get those flyers back, I guess, could you scan those in and email them out to everybody? That way they-
The first page I've already scanned in,
Okay.
and it's been sent by Elena,
Okay.
so you all should have it in your
Yeah.
emails.
Okay.
Yeah. And as we talked about, it's extremely important. I mean, this is important stuff because, Judge, you've been out to scenes, many of us have been out to some of these scenes, and just knowing like what our EMS crews go through on a daily basis, the stuff that they see, it's important that we take. And I mean, we've made great strides in increasing, their pay and also enhancing benefits, but we need to make sure that their mental health is taken care of because
Absolutely.
we only want the best people at their best when they show up for these runs. So.
And on a note of that, I want to say thank you to you all for changing your insurance over to Anthem. It is so much easier for us to work with, for all of the city, county employees.
And their co-pays are so much.
It's
cheap-
so
they're-
much more
they're way-
affordable for them.
Yeah, they're way more
So-
doable.
From a provider standpoint, we see the impact you're making on them through that. Thank you.
Well, that brings up the question, you're asking for $300 a month in addition for additional counseling, but would that not be covered under?
So you have several volunteer firefighters and different things. And then they still do, your city, county employees do still have a copay. So if they come weekly, they have a copay of $25, it's $100 a month. We encourage therapy to be weekly so that we can work through things. It's typically an hour session. We don't do the quick in and out like a doctor does or anything like that. But about 6 sessions is pretty average for someone to start to feel comfortable and actually move through some of the traumatic feelings and experiences. So you're looking at least $150 out of pocket for, a course of treatment following a critical incident or something like that.
I think you have to also look at job retention, like Mike says, some say, I just can't do it and I'm out of here.
Right.
Well, that may retain some of their employees if we start addressing that and letting them see, this is okay, this is,
Right.
this is, you can deal with this and we can help you.
Yeah,
So,
and you help you through it.
And in the training, we talk about, there are times where maybe we can deal with it through a debriefing or doing some other things and therapy isn't needed, but when it is needed, we want to make sure we're there.
All this would be covered under HIPAA, correct?
Yes, and that's why we can give you a rough estimate of how many people we see and that they're in county. We cannot give you a name or we see this many people from this department or that because it would undermine that HIPAA requirement.
Jessica, can you mention about the employee assistance program that you were concerned about?
Yes, so when we fill out employee assistance paperwork through EAP programs, and I don't think we're part of the city EAP, but for other agencies, we have to document quite a bit that goes back to that EAP. Is that shared through, where is that shared through the county?
That would be better off with asking Steve and Shannon, so we're not gonna have that.
Yeah.
I will-
It would think
on
Steve
that,
just
Mike.
walked down. Yeah, he just walked by.
I believe that he.
Again, not putting someone on the spot.
I believe that he just started that back up with
that was a
Not
question that
100%.
came up at our training, is where that, because of HIPAA, you know, kind of where that goes, but, so what
That's
we're
something
looking
we
for.
can check on.
Yeah, what we're looking for through the fiscal court is that both financial support, but also just awareness and helping us to spread the word about what we're doing. We are doing this fundraiser. If fiscal court wanted to jump in as a sponsor for that, it would be helpful, but again, those funds are going to other agencies, not ours. So,
But very, very much needed.
Very
Ones
much
that, ones
needed.
that have a huge presence in Boyle County, and you wouldn't know unless you're a provider that has linked services and you know people that need them, but there's been several, yeah.
Okay.
Um,
Have you all met with the sheriff and with the jailer? up
We
to this
have not
point?
yet met with the sheriff or the jailer. We have met with Captain Mullins.
You mentioned Chad Holderman.
Yes, he emailed me and said that he wants to meet with Jessica and I, but we didn't connect yesterday, so I hadn't talked to her about that, but we're gonna meet with Chad.
We're still doing this around our day jobs because we have to pay our bills.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we've met with Chad, we've obviously talked to, Jared Elam is the chief at Junction City, we've talked to Jared, we've talked to Mike, obviously, we've talked to the chief and the, what's he called, the fire marshal at Danville City, so we have talked to a lot of people.
What about
and
Parable?
Parable, I have only corresponded with them through writing, we haven't met with them yet.
Okay.
And we have met with Captain Mullins at the police department, so we're really getting the word out, and I'm a police wife also, my husband works at Stanford Police Department, so I understand the dynamics and the things of the job, because we had a meeting with the police chief here, and then he was like, I had something come up, I can't make it, and we're like, okay, we know the nature of the job, and you just can't make it, so we have to reschedule with him. But yeah, we are trying to meet with the leaders and things like that in the community, just to let them know our services are available, and just see what support we can give them and get from them too.
Thank you both for what you're doing.
Thank you.
It's a needed service, and I know a lot of people are going to have a lot more better mental health from your all's program. So
We hope so.
yeah. Thank you for being here.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Any
Do I have any
questions?
other questions, comments? Okay.
And I will get you those yearly totals.
Great, thank you. Yeah, be great.
All right.
Thank you so
Thanks.
much.
Thank you.
Have a good day. Okay, next on the agenda is our county surveyor, Rich Murphy, with our courthouse survey. Exciting.
Apparently we own a fountain.
Yeah!
Good morning. Thank you for letting me be here.
Yeah.
I want to say also thank you for letting me do this survey. This is a very interesting survey. It's not one of the most complex ones I've ever done, but it is definitely the most research-intensive project I've ever had to do.
Head scratching, I see a little bald spot right here.
Oh, yeah. Probably. The alts are kicking up and stuff,
Yeah.
you know, but it was, I learned a lot about the history, you know, because once you get involved with these really old land records, you start learning about the old founding families, the different things, everything that went on with how, like, Weisinger Park, you know, the different things going on with it. So it was a great opportunity to learn city history. You know, I think that was one of the main things I enjoyed about this is that's part of surveying is the history part of it. That's what kind of keeps me interested. But yeah, we have the survey. We got the survey. The stakes are all set around the building. There's a lot of deeds that kind of make up little pieces of the property. So I think if nothing else, I've been able to track down a really detailed history, and so that you know exactly what is involved with this courthouse property. Some of the property was obtained through wills, adverse possession. There's city ordinances. I had to do a lot of research for the city ordinances to find out, because a lot of the property lines were readjusted through city ordinance, not a recorded deed. So it made for a very interesting survey, but so I've got everyone a copy of the survey. If there are any questions, by all means fire them out at me at any time. I did want to, a couple of the interesting things that I did see, I talked to Julie about it a little bit too, and Judge Bottom, was there used to be an old, the Clemens family, way back in history, there used to be a little cemetery on the site, right, pretty much, I think it would fall
Right in front of
right in front of
that's
the,
how you
like, right
do
under
it.
where the air conditioning units are there. So that was kind of interesting, and how that through ordinance, they got moved over to the bigger cemetery there. But that was the Clemens family back then, the historic one. They have a big monument in the thing there. So there's a lot of ordinances for that, and some of the interesting finds was the fountain and stage kind of out in the park, that it's almost like somebody knew where the property line was, because the back edge of the stage is exactly on the property line, and then the fountain, that's the stage is on the city portion, and then the fountain is on the county portion where they have that. So it's kind of like, it's almost like somebody knew, because it couldn't be more perfectly on that line. And I believe the PVA office, if you look up the property at the PVA, it doesn't have the front edge of it going all the way down to Main Street. It has the boundary line is actually further. It shows it closer to the building, but the property line does actually extend to the property line, and the tree that's,
The community Christmas
the
tree.
community Christmas tree that actually falls on the county property side there too.
So it goes all the way to the sidewalk on that?
It goes all the way to almost right in the back of the sidewalk,
Okay.
where they have it, is the property there. And there's like, I think it's on there, I can't remember the number, but 80, 90 feet of frontage along Main Street they have there. There was a couple things that I would kind of recommend for like resolution. I've talked to some of you about that, but there is the businesses along along Main Street that have parking on the back side of the building. There's not a definitive ingress-egress easement for them. I know you guys working to get some of that resolved, but that's one of the things that there's no problem right now because it's going through the city and county to access those, but it might be something to clear up down the road, so just to help the owners of those to have their clear rights to the back of that. And if you notice on the map, I guess it would be the upper right corner of the property, you can see a little highlighted finger thing shoot up into the property. That is an actual, there's a little finger type thing in the deed, and that's a result of different errors in deeds, the way deeds were described. It created, it's literally about 7/10 of a foot, just under a foot wide, and it goes up for 20 feet. So it's a little bit of pipe, like triangular, really skinny piece that goes up there that the county actually owns. So it might be something, it's not hurting anything there, it's just a little piece of, it makes it a little messy looking at, so it might be something that we want to resolve at some point where,
But it has the same impact as the square inch of Alaska that I bought when I was 8 years old. On the back of the cereal box.
Yeah, pretty much. So, but that's just some of the interesting things that I found that, as a result of it, that you might want to just consider clearing up at some point. But
Richard, I'm easily confused. Where are our parking lots? We have two over here.
The building's right here in the middle.
The parking lot.
But
Oh yeah, on the parking lot, if you're talking along the 4th Street one, there's the parking lot in the little squares there. But if you're talking, are you talking the backside? Because the parking lots are.
I'm talking about the long one beside the building and the smaller one. I know.
So this is the building right here.
Yeah.
So this is all parking. That's what's one you're talking about that you're parking right now.
Gotcha, okay.
And then this over here is more parking.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm sorry, it's a little confusing.
Yeah.
And,
It's the perimeter,
That's
and
what they
not
have you
just the
around.
courthouse, but the
Yes, I
perimeter of the
understand that.
property.
And just a note, we gained no extra parking from this survey. were
We
hoping-
tried.
No, it's almost where, what we did too is on that, on the right side where there's that, there's an additional lot. We have the little dash lines going through the center of the chart are the old deeds that make up the original deed. But where the parking is over there, we spray painted a little line going down the parking, and it's almost where the asphalt changes between the city and the new color. So it's really close to where that seam is, the break there. But we have some spray marks if you want to see, like you can walk out there and actually get a visual.
Yeah, there is
of where
one
it's-
that I noticed I want to go out there with you and ask you a question about it. So at some point, it don't have to be today if you've
Okay.
got to go and do something else, but there is a question I have about one of them back here.
Absolutely, yep. So, with that, yeah, I think that any questions about the survey? Like I say, it was really a historic one. I didn't realize that the courthouse property used to be in Mercer County, and that's so I actually had to go to Mercer County and check their early books there to kind of piece together a lot of the things with that. And I think the Weisiger Park was the really interesting, you know, the history of it, you know, the different, how that was willed over and everything to the city and left for the.
So did you find any other encroachment issues, whether we have encroached on somebody or somebody else is, you know?
The one that I have a note in there, like the air conditioning unit that we have up on the back side of the building.
Okay.
There's a, if you look at it, there's a property corner just inside the fence. So the fence, I think, there's just a little piece of there where the fence is around the air conditioning unit is about maybe less than a foot onto the other property over there.
Okay.
But that is the only other issues. Like I say, there was the fountain and the stage, I think is kind of, you know, there, but I think between what's shown as the Richard Clay property, which is the building right next door, that's where the fence goes on to the edge of that property there.
Okay.
And there, I found all the ordinances for the walkway that connects the buildings, and on that side there, those little ventilators, that the little, going down to the basement, the little concrete ventilators, those are on the county property, but I didn't call them encroaching because there is a city ordinance that recognizes it and permits it. So they changed the property line there to the face of the building, so that to your property line actually goes up to the face of the building, and those little ventilators that go down for the vent, they're on city, it's acknowledged that it's city or county property, but it is with permission, so that's why I didn't call it an encroachment, because it is a known and it is accepted.
Okay. And we actually found out back here, where the alleyway used to be,
That's
that the county actually owns up to that building. So
That's
that
correct,
whole
'cause-
grass area is.
That's
county.
correct, because when the cemetery was under the air conditioning unit, there was also what they called a 4-foot right-of-way or walkway that led from the cemetery all the way, right along the face of the building down to Main Street. So that they can access the cemetery from Main Street. Well, when the cemetery was moved, they cleared it all up through a city ordinance where they basically said that the cemetery would be moved and then the walkway would be going to the city. It would become city property as well. So that 4 feet, so there was a little bit of air, so that left like a couple inches of gap between that and the building. So if a subsequent city ordinance resolved that little gap and just made it up to the face of the building.
For the county or
For the
city?
county or the city?
I keep saying, I'm sorry, I will say for the county.
Okay, okay.
It's a,
We just want to clarify.
yes, I am.
Years ago, when 6880 went all the way through western Kentucky, a lot of family graveyards were moved. I think you mentioned once before you actually found the history of how that process was done with the state on this little cemetery. Was there a written document about the moving? And I think they went here to Bellevue.
It went to Bellevue when it was moved, and there is, the city ordinance mentions that there was, that when the agreement came into place that the cemetery would be moved and the walkway would be basically dissolved, there was a note in the thing that no subsequent documentation was found as to certifying if everything was moved. It was in the ordinance that everything was going to be moved and everything, but they found no subsequent documents that it actually was or anything was taken care of. But
It sounds like a good opportunity for a ghost story.
Yeah, yeah.
like I said, the history was just really, I think that's what kind of kept me enthralled with it more, is just the whole history of everything, you know.
And has this been recorded?
It has. I got it. I came here Friday, but I didn't realize it closed early here.
Yeah.
So I got it recorded, and that's why I was a little late getting the things to you. But I got it recorded this morning, so
Okay.
it is recorded.
Good deal.
And I left with Katina some certified that have the recorder stamp on it. These are all signed and stamped, but they don't have the little recorder's stamp on them. But I did leave some copies over there, so you do have it, and it's on file in the clerk's office as of this morning.
So no real big surprises, it's pretty much how we thought it was.
It's pretty much how you thought, and I think throughout the process, I've walked around a lot with Julie and
Yeah.
Hugo about it too,
Yeah.
so we kind of got it figured out.
Good deal. All right, any questions or comments for Rich?
No, thank you.
We
Well, thank
appreciate it
you.
very much,
I
thank
appreciate
you.
it.
I'll be excited to get the next one.
Yes.
Yeah, the next
Yeah.
one, yeah. That's right. Okay, next is EMA Director Brian Boyle. Good morning.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Apologize, it's been a while since I've been in here, but Judge asked me 2 weeks ago at the meeting to come speak about what we did out at the high school, but just so happened that the state decided they wanted our last area meeting of the fiscal year at 11 o'clock. So we were kind of crunched for time.
In Lexington. So.
In Lexington. We did the pep rally for life out at the high school. And basically who took the lead on that was actually the FFA department. And, but I'd be remiss if I didn't give credit to Dale Dobson from the state and Chris Kaufman did a good job on kind of coordinating everything with the FFA department out there. And basically what we did, and I know Paula you probably heard firsthand about a lot of it. We had Avery, was one of the victims out there. It was a joint effort, but from EMA, the FFA, EMS was there, County Fire, Danville Fire. It was a pretty good exercise. So we basically simulated one. It was a field party, kind of trying to stress the importance of high school kids, making good decisions in life. Simulated field party. Where they had 2 ATV accidents, or actually running into a cattle trailer. One one fatality. We actually had Dr. Guerrant come out. We actually put that student in the bag, and trying to get the full effect for the kids to see what can happen. Avery we were actually going to fly Avery out somehow or another. The Donald Harry didn't get the waiver to actually fly him out, but I think it was still a pretty good. It was a pretty good. I think it got the message across with their evac coming in and landing that close to them. I think overall, I think it was a
very realistic.
It was realistic.
Avery flies close to the ground.
Yeah.
Other than that, we did earlier in the year. Mike and I. And Danville Police and the Sheriff's Office, along with school administrators, we did walkthroughs of all the schools, and we've actually started with a week and a half ago, Mike. We had a meeting out at Danville Center, so we're going around to the nursing homes, just trying to make sure that their emergency operation plans are updated. And we had a good meeting out at Danville Center, just kind of had a tabletop exercise out there we're probably there an hour. 15 minutes or so kind of going through, what are you going to do if we need to evacuate your nursing home, and working with the administrators there so we can get those plans updated. Sam and I both attended Kentucky Emergency Service Conference back in September. That was always, it's always good training up there. We had 2 full days of class while we're there from Tuesday to Friday. Actually went to CAECO training last week for 8 hours. So, and that was 2 really good classes. The senior crisis leadership in the morning, and then the afternoon session was public assistance class, or applying for public assistance. Other than that, just doing a lot of, actually just completed a lot of the Kentucky Emergency Management fiscal year-end submissions. So we've got all that stuff in.
I wanted to mention that I told Mike this morning that some of the kids, one of my other grandchildren that's there, that watched the whole scene, said they couldn't hear a lot and they'd love to hear what was going on. So I didn't know, we mentioned maybe getting some kind of little mic system to where they could see what you're thinking and doing. And
Right.
I wasn't there, I didn't know about it till after it was over, so. But yeah, Avery's low to the ground with his football, but on his job, he's high up. So. But I really thought that was a really great exercise for the school.
And we're gonna reach out to Danville schools too, to see if we can do something out at the high school out there for them.
The host of the health organization out there, the FFA, and, you know, it looks like they could get together and do some great stuff there too, collaborations.
And we did siren testing.
We did have siren testing this past Friday, always do it first Friday of the month, 12 o'clock. And out of all the sirens countywide and in the city, the only issue we still have just the one siren, the airport road siren is, we're still gotta do some major maintenance to it.
And that's been all these months. When did we first see it being fixed? It's been since January that I know.
Now that, actually what we had talked about, and we've talked to Roger about it, now that the county has the bucket truck, or Sam and I probably, we're gonna try to go out and actually take that siren down.
I'd be real interested in getting that fixed because that's vital to that community.
It is.
A couple of years ago, didn't we have vandalism up on the ridge? Didn't we put a camera up there?
On Tennessee Ridge?
Yeah.
There's not one up there to my knowledge, but I mean, they do have the 10-foot chain link fence up there now. So yeah. It's kind of locked up like Fort Knox up there.
And we're kind of looking at, or discussing some possible other locations for sirens, maybe.
We are.
On the south end.
Right.
Okay.
We're looking kind of, we thought maybe out around the Hunt Farm development out there. You know, of course, the problem we run into when we start talking about placing a siren, naturally we have to be close to an electrical source, so, and a good place to put the pole. We don't want to put it right in someone's bedroom window.
Now, we've moved a siren out here on this pole, is that right? Out here at the end of the driveway, or are we putting a siren out there?
Right now, the siren that was originally at the old Danville Fire Station that was moved down to Jenny Rogers. Update on that, Danville is going. We got them a bid. Sam got them a bid on. I got it quoted. They're going to purchase a siren, but I think they're trying to figure out what they're doing with the lot where the old fire station was.
Okay.
But we have extended an offer that we do have a place out here. I actually talked with, well, you were there, with Mike Lawhorn that's doing the electrical work for the city during the streetscape project out here. So we were asking him, you know, because we thought we had a pole right now. That pole's going away.
Yeah,
so,
okay.
So do you know exactly when you'll be looking at that airport? I'd really like to get, so I can pass that along to Jim.
Right, as soon as we can get over there and actually get it taken down with the bucket truck.
Okay.
So hopefully in the
Have to
next
connect
couple
with
of
Roger
weeks.
and.
Couple weeks, yeah. Okay, I wanted to let Jim Douglas know that.
Yes.
All right. Any questions or comments for Director Boyle? All right. Thank you very much. We appreciate the report.
Thank you all. Try to get back a little sooner next time.
Sheriff Bottom, is he out in the hall maybe? Good morning.
I didn't hear you stop talking.
Got you down for a third quarter report and a budget amendment.
Yes,
Okay.
we are here, hopefully short and sweet, for you guys to acknowledge our amendment to our budget. Good morning.
Good morning. Okay, we acknowledge your third quarter report. We will have to have a motion and a second to approve the amendment to the annual budget.
I'll make a motion.
And it's just as it is? Yeah, okay,
Yes.
okay.
The
So,
city is-
motion by Magistrate Cullen, second by Magistrate Harmon. Any discussion on the amendment or the third quarter report? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Motion carries. Well, good.
Good.
Thank
He-
you.
He didn't need you after all.
No, you just want me for moral support in case.
That's right.
But thank you all.
Sheriff,
In case we had any questions, he knew you were the one with the
Yeah,
answers.
I would help him with anything he needed.
There you go.
answered.
You're welcome.
I should have
See you.
surely
Thank you.
seen this before.
Good job.
See you all.
Thank you, Billy.
Okay, EMA Director, Mike Rogers, Community Outreach and Financial Update.
Thanks, Judge. Thank you, the magistrates.
Thank you.
In your packet, you should have the financial report. If you have any questions on that, it does have, Magistrate Ellis was asking last meeting about collections. It's on there. We turn over anywhere from $21,000 to $27,000 a month to collections. And you can see on the right there what we receive. Just real quick, I'll run through this just so it makes sense how to read it. But if you start from the left, it's the Medicare, Medicaid, private insurance, and private pay. And that's the total receipts of those added together. The next column is the we receive. That's the minus the 4% that we pay our billing company. And then total billed, write-offs are contractual allowances, stuff that you have to accept because of, contractual allowances with each provider, whether it's Medicare or Medicaid. The number of billable runs sometimes is different than the actual number of runs we made because sometimes at the end of the month, the runs aren't billed until the next month, so that number fluctuates. But we ended up finishing last month with 600 runs. So that's kind of the financial report. You should get this at the second meeting because by the time we compile and the reports are posted on our portal from our billing company, Rita types it up and she'll send it to Katina. So you should get this every.
So September was 600 runs?
Yes.
Okay.
Mike, when you turn money over, I'm not seeing that. Where is, did you turn over your collection?
The collections is at the bottom column on the left. Right here.
Okay, so you turned over 80 last month and you only collected 1,400 out of the 26,000?
Yeah.
Sounds like we need a new collection company.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I don't, and we can do that. We can look into it. It's just where basically our billing company will do the 30, 60, 90, 120 days, and then it'll go to the collection agency. And I don't know if they have any other power except just to keep sending them correspondence because we don't do hard collection, which would be, actually, suing them or whatever. We don't do that. So that's kind of.
What is that, 240,000 a year that we're writing off about? That's $250,000.
I don't think that's unusual though.
No.
I think in that arena.
Well, you know me, I like to get all the money we
I
can.
know, and I do too, but I mean, short of taking everybody to court, which that's not a good look either.
Right, right. And then will they not use the ambulance service when they need it because of the money?
Yeah.
We don't want that,
And Mike, this kind of relates. Is there a difference?
You haven't paid your bill. We're not.
Is there a difference of care rendered but transport refused and no care rendered
Yes, sir. It's a good
and
question.
transport refused?
So what we bill for, and it's going to be time for us to visit this again, just because we may need to adjust some of our pay rates and stuff like that. But basically, we can only bill if we transport. So that's
so you could deliver care.
Yeah.
And not bill.
Yeah, so Medicare, Medicaid, and that's something I'm working with the state. Luann Fitzpatrick works at the Cabinet for Health and Resources, has been helping push legislation forward to where we can actually bill Medicaid for services provided if they don't get transported. So right now we have to transport. Now we do charge for if we go there and we start an IV, we give them medication. The charge for that is $375. And there's some insurances that pay it, but most don't. So,
What about, and there probably wouldn't be transport on this because it's expensive, bee sting, anaphylactic shock.
Right.
You might be there 20 minutes and they're fine.
Right. The more common one that we see is, like an example I'll give is someone's blood sugar's low. They're unconscious, we start an IV, we give them some sugar, we make sure they eat a good meal, and then at that point, they don't need to go to the hospital because we've identified the problem, we fixed it, and they have family members that'll stay with them and watch them, make sure.
And you're giving them glucose intravenously?
Dextrose, yes.
And you're not billing for that?
We do bill for it.
Okay.
It's a $375 charge, but most insurances don't pay for it.
And the same thing with the injection on anaphylactic shock, that's expensive.
Yeah, those patients will almost always go to the hospital. But you'll get this monthly, and we won't put it on the agenda unless you have questions. You can always ask me.
Okay.
It'll just be in their packet.
Yeah, be in your packet. The other thing we want to touch on real quick is which will be in your packet. We started doing. We go over this every morning. Like this morning in our committee meeting is Terry's outreach numbers, the patients that he reaches out to. And I don't specifically think we need to go over it, but just review it. If you have any questions, you can ask us. But we're continuing to see mental health struggles in Boyle County, and we hope to get that grant, but we're already trying to. We have a guy that we were finally able to get into treatment, and we just found out this morning that he's transitioning in not only a 30-day treatment but a long-term treatment. So it's a small win, but we take everyone we get, and I have a lot of respect for these patients because they haven't given up on themselves, and it's you get so low, it's easy to do, and it's our job to continually just visit them, reassure them, give them any kind of resources they need, and then help them through whatever they're going through. So,
Terry, do we leave Narcan in those cases? Do we leave Narcan with the family?
Oh, definitely, yeah, and just in just about every situation like that we can, we always try to leave Narcan. I think we had around 9 applications we left last month. The overdoses were actually down pretty low. I was very, with the exception, I think we had maybe 2 or 3 at our jail. That kind of bumped us up. I count those numbers as well. But as far as in the community, our overdose cases actually dropped. Our mental health, we're still up there. We're still seeing a lot of issues of anxiety and some suicidal ideation. I think we had 1 suicide fatality the past month, but we're going to keep an eye on it. So far, just this month, we haven't had any overdose cases that have come through our EMS. So I'm hoping that that's a trend that we'll see, that it's continuing to stay down. But I know in the past when we've had some decreases, it was just a matter of time, and we see it jump back up. So we'll just keep an eye on it.
And we never know when we always, when we teach about using Narcan, we always say call 911. But you never know how many that just use the Narcan.
That's what we're
don't call.
Yeah.
The community outreach training, is that training that you did
Yes.
for employees or for people in the community?
No, that one, which one?
The psychological first aid training?
Okay, that's a personal training I did.
That you did,
Just
okay.
myself.
And the mental health training is one you did for yourself?
The second one is the one that the Danville Counseling Services did.
Gotcha, okay.
Yeah, they did 2 different, or the same training, but 2 different days.
Gotcha, okay.
It's Steve Griffith actually did sit through that training with us, which was good. So he kind of had an idea of what it encompasses. So it was good for him to
Great.
see it. So.
Yeah.
I know, Judge, just in response to that, I kind of just I didn't really didn't have a chance to ask everybody, but I asked quite a few that I could catch, by themselves. And
I kind of asked them how they liked the training, and everybody had positive feedback. But my big question was, so, you know, to them is, so how do you kind of decompress, or how do you talk about tough runs and stuff like that you go on? And for the most part, most of them are bottling it. They're not even going home and talking to their family members or spouses or anything about it, or a counselor, or you know, and you know, when that happens, I think that kind of opens up the door for a lot of negative ways to treat it. You know, I know even in our training, that was one of the big things that they were, you know, wanting everybody to start talking about it, and just kind of debriefing as they were saying. So yeah, it was a good training. I think it'll be beneficial for us to see some more training and with families as well.
Director Rogers, do you all do any kind of debriefing?
We do, and actually Master Cullen has been to one that we've done, but it's mostly we look at what happened, how we can improve our care, and you know, typically in the past we would always kind of just talk about it, but I think from now on we're going to make it more intentional at the end of those to just try to say, you know, this is how it made me feel, and so that way we don't just keep piling stuff on top of it, and then sometimes people will develop a negative coping mechanism, which always ends up in a problem. That's what we're trying to do is you know, encourage a positive coping mechanism. But yeah, so and one of the other things that Jessica's working with us on is a policy for our first responders after they've had a critical run. You know, we had tossed around for years, do we send them home for a little while, or, you know, give them time to decompress? And I don't think send them home is the answer. So we're working with Jessica on developing an actual policy for our department that says how to handle these after a critical stress.
Thank you for your awareness on that.
That's good.
Thank you, Jessica.
Thank you all.
All right, anybody else? Good deal, thank you. Okay, next is County Administrator Julie Wagner with the auto sharing ordinance.
Okay, so Trilly was at a Kentucky Judge Executives Conference in Boone County and brought back to us that Boone County adopted an ordinance where they could collect a license fee off of car sharing, Ubers, Lyft, rental cars. There is legislation in Frankfurt that allows us to do that. The collection of fees would then be spent on economic development. So it could go to the Danville County Development Council, to the EDA. So I have been reading this. I did discuss it with Chris. He would like your direction on whether we pursue this. There is one thing about a You Drive It, and I'm still not real clear on exactly what a You Drive It is, but it is a rental of motor vehicles to transport items, I think. And that has a threshold of 75%. So I don't think we would get that one, but we could get the rental car, the Uber, the Lyft, those. And there is another rental car agency that's based here that is sort of like an Uber. So it would be 3% of a collection fee. And so I would like your direction on whether you would like us to pursue writing an ordinance and trying to collect this. How that would be structured, I'm not sure yet. I've asked Boone County to share their ordinance with us. No, not yet. Good. Great. So Chris would like your direction before we write an ordinance.
I don't know. I have some concerns about it. I mean, like Ubers, people use those to, if they have been drinking or something, they use those, right? Sometimes it's or they just don't feel like driving. But I just wonder about taxing it, and then of course that'll go back to the person that ordered the car, right? I mean,
The customer. It's a user tax.
It's just a
basically.
user tax,
Yes.
so that will go to
It's not the
our-
company, it's the user.
It's the user, okay, that's,
I also want to point out, and maybe you have confirmed this, because Chris and I were talking about this yesterday, that we're not for sure that Uber falls under this.
Okay.
Because my reading of it, and we're going to look into it more but that it's more like Turo.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. It's Turo, it's not Uber.
I don't think, because Uber is a
Okay.
service.
Okay.
And not a car rental.
Yeah.
So it's car rental, so that's Turo, which is a peer-to-peer car.
This is very
rental.
similar to the tax that we place on Airbnbs.
Yes.
So,
So it would really only apply to Enterprise and Turo, which when Chris and I looked it up yesterday, there's 0 Turo rentals in
Right.
Boyle County.
correct.
So I don't know, and again, to present to you, I'll get your opinion, but there would be very little to collect and maybe
more trouble
to enforce and process, and they would collect. Obviously, Boone County, they're in the airport,
Right.
so there's
Yeah.
lots of
Yeah.
car
Yeah.
rental there, so it's a much more probably.
They're the only county in Kentucky that
Right,
does this.
that would
So we
benefit from it, so I don't know that.
I read peer-to-peer
just
car
targeting
sharing
one company.
and looked that up, and it said
That's all one we have.
Yeah, I don't see that.
Yeah.
I don't see that.
Well, that's why we wanted your input, because, you know,
Yeah.
it's just something that's out there, I'd never heard of it. Like I said, Boone County's the only county that's doing it, so we just thought we would throw it out to you all and just
There's
see.
no need in writing an ordinance that
Yeah,
weren't going
right,
to pass.
right.
Right.
So get your thoughts on it first.
Yeah, I'm not for it.
Well,
Yeah.
legally, it seems like it's not worth pursuing.
Right.
Well, it's do you have it, because, I mean, we use Turo a lot when I'm traveling. It makes it a lot easier sometimes. So, do we have it when they start showing up, and then we have to, you know, at that point go backwards and be like, oh crap, now I gotta get this? Or do we just kind of have it out there, and when somebody comes in, it's already set up, we don't have to work backwards? I mean, it's just, I mean, it's a consumption tax is what it is, and that's kind of where the state's going to on a lot of things. It's where a lot of states are going to. So I don't have a problem with it. So it's not, we're not taxing everybody, we're only taxing the people using it. Most people are using our visitors that are utilizing our services here that don't pay taxes. So I'm actually in favor of it, I'm sorry, so.
I just think that it's only gonna affect one business. I don't like that. You know, it's just gonna.
It's kind of like the hotel tax. If you had one hotel, they pay the 3%. If you had more, then-
And it won't
Yeah,
affect
we're still
the
trying to read
business.
through
Well,
some of these.
and what I brought up with Chris yesterday is what it's gonna do is probably just increase, if you wanna go rent a car from Enterprise, it's just gonna jack your prices up 3%. Because they're not gonna pay it, they're gonna put it on the car rental price. So it's gonna affect people renting the cars, I mean, and then I guess it comes back, hopefully, and maybe benefits everybody.
And
Something
that's
like
exactly what it needs to do. Again, it's people that, most of the car rentals will be people that don't live here, or are using our roads, using our services, that then we put that burden on the taxpayer to fix. So, that's kind of one of those direct travel benefits, tourism benefits.
Yeah. It would be on the tourists, not necessarily our taxpayer.
Correct.
Well, but yeah, I mean, I understand what you're saying there, but I don't think that's necessarily true with our car rental business. Because we don't necessarily, it's not like you're a car rental business at an airport.
Right.
Our car rental business here are local people renting their cars from here to take a vehicle somewhere else.
To go on vacation, some people's
Or
cars aren't good enough to go.
or that they've had an accident, which is generally
Yeah.
covered under
Yeah.
insurance. So it's not, again, it's not coming out of their pocket. But you would be surprised how many of those enterprise rental cars end up over at our airport. There's 2 parking spots specifically for when people come in that want to have rental cars here.
I think we can keep it for a future
Yeah.
consideration, but I just
It's-
don't feel it right
Okay,
now.
we don't have to take any action right now.
I say we research it, figure out, you know, what it'll do to the local business or whatever, because we at least have to do that as a.
The extent of my research was pulling down all the KRSs in case
Yeah.
you wanted us to proceed.
Yeah,
So-
exactly.
So
I
I'll
think,
just file that away.
you know,
and-
Boone County, they have obviously a mega airport.
Oh, yes.
And
Yes.
that's a whole different
Yes.
animal there.
Yes,
Okay,
absolutely.
it was just something something for you all to consider.
Glad we're looking into
Keep
every
bringing the money
avenue.
option.
We'll not take any action on that.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, are we saying to completely halt it and not keep looking at it? Because I don't think that's what we do.
Just not at this time. Just no action at this time. We can always bring it back up later.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, I mean, if you want Chris and I just had a chance to talk about it yesterday, and I mean, if you want him and I to go through these statutes in more detail and bring back exactly, because not 100% whether Uber and Lyft, I don't want to say 100%, but if you want us to present more facts on it at the next meeting, we
I
can
think
bring
that would
those
be good.
facts.
That'd be fine.
That,
Okay, that would be good. Yeah,
email, distribute that around, just so we have a super clear understanding of what it covers.
I think that would be great.
Now that I hear more about it and listening to Magistrate Cullen,
2 weeks being out.
there's a parallel example here. We do have a bit of a solar ordinance in place, or at least a moratorium. And I wish we had already in place what we're going to work on, hopefully after this meeting today. So to have it in place, if the research bears it out 2 weeks from now, if it develops, fine. If not, the ink's on the ordinance. So I do understand Magistrate Cullen's rationale about proceeding if it warrants it after you research a little more.
Yeah, I would say if you and Chris could look into it further, bring back some more information, that would be fantastic. But yeah, I'd like to be proactive instead of reactive.
We'll put you on in 2 weeks.
Yeah, sounds good.
Truly, I have one more thing.
Yes, ma'am.
Just to save time, we were awarded the spay and neuter grant in the amount of $1,212.
Yay.
So could I go ahead and get approval for Truly to sign the standard grant agreement for that, so we can get that done?
Make that motion.
Second.
Thank you.
I have a motion by Magistrate Bodnar, a second by Magistrate Ellis, to approve signing the required documents for the spay and neuter grant. Any discussion? All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Motion carries. Thank you, Julie. All right, we are up to magistrate reports, and we'll start with Magistrate Ellis today.
Thank you, Judge. The first thing I'm going to pass around, this copy goes to our counsel in his absence. I attended, again, I think it was the 5th meeting of the Annexation Task Force last Friday. We have to take this extraordinarily seriously. There are cases, not just one or two, but multiple cases where if you have the utilities as a city out into a county, you can literally leapfrog over annexed properties. And I think that could be a grave concern if we don't at least hold fast in the next General Assembly to what we gained in the last one with this moratorium, where they have to come to fiscal court in order to seek or be denied approval.
Simpsonville's a perfect example of that.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Where the mall, I mean the new outlets was annexed in, but there's nothing between the two.
Yeah. So please, there are going to be 1 or 2 more copies circulating, and I'm going to try to get some sent for everybody. But the judge has one, and I left one for Julie to look at as well. So that's of prime importance. The Perryville commemoration weekend, I saw you, Kendall. You were over by the hamburger stand. But it was a wonderful success. And please, now Forkland this coming weekend, great festival. The rain will hold off.
Promise?
Promise. I went last night to Danville City Hall, and thank you, Commissioner Sears, for your comments and your help. A week ago Thursday, when we had our planning session in Perryville, the mayor brought up the fact that he had encountered the previous Tuesday and Wednesday a city worker coming with 40 shutoffs scheduled. I said, Mayor, did you hear this or did you see this? He said, I went out when I heard about it and met the gentleman. Was it a list or was it what he said to you? It was a list. The bottom line is there has been extraordinary confusion over a new system of billing, substituting in for the old system of billing. There's been an education program out there, but this 75-year-old sitting before you with low-tech capabilities would have failed any test of trying to get through and get my billing system set up properly. And I made an appeal for working couples where they can't get down to be trained at City Hall, where elderly who are like I am, who have very difficult time navigating through a communications tool that was prepared by the City of Danville, and single mothers who have all kinds of distractions and responsibilities where they just can't get downtown to learn how to do this. And I had reports, contrary to what was said last night, Rick, that when people called in, they said they could not do it over the phone. They could not use their MasterCard. I got a report on that 2 days ago. With all of that in mind and the confusion reigning and reports of several hundred within Danville proper of the similar circumstances of being deficient on paying their bill either by confusion or confusion of the system that's now in place. And it was said that the mayor literally sat with an iPad and inputted and got his done, and then they had training sessions at City Hall, and it was initially said, now if the mayor and others would come in from Perryville, 9 miles out the road, Junction, 4+ miles out the road, and come to City Hall, that perhaps we could get these folks taken care of. It's hundreds of folks. And I was mouthing, because you're not allowed to speak after you've spoken, I was mouthing to Commissioner Series, how about getting them to bring the iPads out to Junction and Perryville? And now, thanks to your input last night, we can make that happen. So you might want to talk to the mayor, I'll talk to Mayor Miller, and we'll just have some sessions where I know that I would have to line up and say, okay, I'm 15th in line, but I'm going to stay as long as you'll be here until I can get my bill set up properly. So that was a very big issue in Perryville and apparently in other parts of our county. Judge, did you want to speak about Dr. Tipton? And I'll let you, because you were at the last meeting and I wasn't, so I'll hold off on.
Well, she was going to be here today,
I understand, yeah.
but she has been ill, so we've postponed her coming to the next meeting.
Okay.
So I'll just wait and let her.
Okay.
Yeah.
Parksville, both Magistrate Bodner and I will be in Parksville Thursday night for another one of the planning sessions with the state gentleman who comes.
Now, Master Bowden, what is the building? Is it?
It's the fellowship hall right next to
Fellowship
the.
Hall. Okay. I called it the annex.
Yeah,
So okay, but it's Fellowship Hall. Okay.
And then apparently there was some concern expressed regarding magistrates on a personnel selection situation inappropriately writing an endorsement. I'd like to make it abundantly clear that first of all, if you feel like you have an issue like that, why don't you bring it to the individual who made the endorsement in the future. Secondly, motivated to make certain that that was an appropriate thing to do, I contacted Rich Ornstein, and he was immediately saying, my gosh, absolutely yes you can. I've talked to Steve Griffin about it, and he said the exact same thing in his experience as an HR director. So please, if you have an issue in the future, bring it to the source and make sure and clear it before you say it to half a dozen people. And that's all I have, Judge. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Master Bodner?
I really would love to see some people out at Parksville at the comprehensive planning at Junction City. We had 6 the first time, and mostly just all the presenters, and Julie and I, so the second time. And so I'd really love to see some people out Thursday night, 6 o'clock. Trunk or treat is at Junction City, October 31st, 5 to 7:30. There's a flu shot clinic today, a drive-through at the health department. You can drive through, put your arm in the window, and they'll give you your flu shot, and you can head on out. And it was the big 500th win for Boyle County.
Yeah.
So Avery and Austin get to celebrate that, and that'll be a memory for them forever that they were there with the 500th win. I have noticed some trimmings. They're trimming back all the trees that are over at the side on Cream Ridge Road. They've really trimmed those back. It looks so good. And then I think that's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Harmon?
Big restaurant opening this weekend, or Friday. I understand we do have the steakhouses obtain what they need to begin their process building. I want to say something about EMS, and this doesn't pertain just to EMS, but it's first responders, everyone, law enforcement, everyone. They see and experience a lot of trauma. And for 11 years that I was involved with EMS and fire protection, there never was anyone there after we experienced the trauma. I did CPR along with Archie Curtis on a little girl 5 years old. She was killed on White Oak Road. We brought her to Danville Hospital. Remember like it was yesterday. We took her from there and went to Lexington. And I drove the ambulance. Unfortunately, we hit a vehicle. But they didn't take off when I took off, but they did after I hit them. And I don't know if they were deaf or blind or what, but they couldn't see or hear the lights and sirens. We were a signal 7. Never did get a heartbeat. She never could breathe on her own. The child was pronounced dead at Central Baptist Hospital then. 3 months later, responded to another call. It was one of our rescue members' daughter. And Archie and I both did CPR all the way to Danville. Loaded her up, took her to Lexington, and at the same hospital, she too was pronounced dead. And what happened, both children had an injury to the spinal cord and the brain where it connects, and it pulled apart, where the brain tells the heart to beat and the lungs to function. Mike, you know what I'm talking about. And that was, I think, in 1983 or 4. Count the years up. I still every now and then wake up to that. Been a lot of time in the prayer closet. Spent a lot of time thinking about it. That sight never leaves. And these guys and gals out here, they need our help, but they're not going to say it because they're always help givers. When you always do it and give it, you never need it yourself.
Right.
But that's something to look at later on.
I agree.
That's all I have.
Thank you, sir. Measure Cullen?
Back on my notes. I got notes. Bridge repair. On Southwest Pike.
There's a meeting on, looking.
I just got an email
Thursday at 2?
I just got an email from Laura Bowler. She said that they have finally connected with Mr. Chambers with Norfolk Southern, and they are going to have a meeting. Now, she has not told me when or where yet.
Okay.
But that just came in while we've been in here.
Okay, thank you.
52.
We need to get with the state.
Yes, I have a permit, I have everything in process. I haven't submitted it yet, but I will this week.
Okay. And then, I'll talk to Roger afterwards. There's some pretty bad potholes on Waterworks. And I think they're gonna get repaved here come next year, but man, it's bad out there in some places. There's one that's right at the curve at Tibbs where if you go to avoid that, you're pretty much gonna hit another car coming on because the way it's blind. And then, I wanna thank Sheriff for working on getting that speed control device put out on Goggin. Doesn't work.
Doesn't work?
Doesn't work. Worked for like a day, maybe 3. And he and I have been communicating with it or whatever. But more importantly, I want a permanent fix out there. I'd like a permanent fix out there. I think the people along that road deserve that. Because I have seen the benefit of it. So those days that it was working, you know, when it starts flashing that red number, people have slowed down. You can see them slowing down because it starts telling them, like it shows you that they're slowing down. So, you know, not everybody's going to pay attention to it. I understand that, but I know we did. Brian and his group did the pictures out there. So Kelly has indicated it sounds like they're willing to put them out. We just need to submit that stuff.
It's my understanding, I think it's more on the 52 end. There is a really bad drop-off place on 52 where there's no edge. The road just drops off.
No, it's the poor paving and the speed. So as you right after you come past Goggin and you head up to that road, there's that really bad curve, and at that curve they actually just patched pavement on top of it, so it kind of almost throws you up, and then you go into a curve.
Okay.
And so
There was a wreck out there, a dump truck or something turned over?
Oh, that was on Goggin.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Oh no, I'm talking about 52.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, no, the speeds on Goggin are a whole different thing, and that's what happened. That guy came around that corner
Okay.
and just.
But is it a drop off there?
Well, yeah, there's a drop off on that
Okay.
inside turn. Yeah, that you have to be careful of, but
Okay.
that's all. They're doing some stuff there on 52. I mean, on Goggin. That it wasn't the water department because they're working up there at Jody's new properties up there, but it was some other stuff that's happening there where they're hauling dirt.
Okay.
And those guys are just flying down that road.
Rick, help me on this. Last night, Josh Morgan spoke to that intersection right there, and basically he said they're going to have to wait until 52 is taken care of before they can work on the Goggin area. Is that how I heard it last night?
I don't remember, Tom.
What do you mean?
Apparently, the complaint that I called you about, thinking it was county and it was city, Josh Morgan addressed that last night. You might want to call.
This is a different part of Goggin. This is down outside city limits.
Okay.
So, anyway. But yeah, no, it's that turn, and that's where people kind of get a little airborne, and then they try to correct because they're going. I mean, it all comes down to speed. People just slow down. But yeah, so we need that straightened out. Is really what it comes down to. Just need to straighten out, and almost I can guarantee everybody on that area would be happy to give or take a little bit to have that straightened out because you know they end up with cars in their lawn. You know, I still get text messages from one of the people out there that just for Ring camera catches cars end up being in her front lawn. So anyway, but yeah, so on Goggin, they really need to just put those 2 signs up, and I think there's probably some opportunities from other places in the county, but let's test it there. It does work. So, and then, did you mention the chili cook-off?
I did.
You did, okay.
Oh, no, I didn't.
No,
I
you
mentioned
didn't.
it last week.
Last meeting.
Last week's meeting. But
Yes.
this Friday,
Yes.
so don't get too full at Forkland.
Friday or Saturday?
Saturday. It's
Yeah.
Saturday.
Yeah, but Forkland's Friday, Saturday.
Oh, yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, so don't get too full. But on your way home from Forkland at 5 o'clock, you can stop over to Junction City Fire Hall
Yeah.
for some chili.
Chili, that's right.
Their chili cook-off.
Yes.
Yeah.
And as you can see, I'm going to be there.
Uh-huh.
So, anyway, definitely supporting the fire department, but more important, I like chili. So,
That's right.
and I think that is all that I have. I'm good.
Is that all you have?
Yeah, that's good.
All right, thank you, sir. Measure
I'm
Gay?
good.
All right. Measure Sleeper?
Yes, first of all, I'd like to give a report of our Animal Control Committee that met on October 2nd, in which both of our ACOs and Magistrate Gay and myself were in attendance. I'd like to report that both of our ACOs are enrolled in Kentucky Basic Animal Control training. As of the date of the committee meeting, they had not completed it, but one has completed since then. I'll elaborate on that a little more later on. New uniforms were discussed, and we've ordered some boots, but the officers need some real clarity from the fiscal court as to what the uniform package is to consist of, so that they can go to the supplier and get those uniforms. It needs to be done as soon as possible, because they're waiting to get those uniforms, and that's part of our initiative to enhance and professionalize our animal control program. In addition to professional uniforms that indicate their law enforcement role, it was also discussed the need of possibly some high visibility gear, because they are on the road a lot of times performing their duties, so that would be good to consider that as well. The ACOs expressed their desire that the functions of the new shelter director include helping them with some of the physical aspects of the shelter when needed, and they also expressed a desire to meet the final candidates for the shelter director position. They'd like just to meet them and provide their input. The ACOs reported a much improved environment of cooperation between the Boyle County Animal Control and the Humane Society and the animal rescue and fostering groups. Adoptions, fosters, and rescues are all up significantly. Excuse me. The non-emergencies after hours phone number needs to be on the signage at the shelter and on the shelter voicemail. I guess they currently are not. And the ACOs also expressed a concern that voicemails cannot be left on the phone system at the shelter after hours. And that's the procedure, that's how it's done now, but they would like something in effect for that. And I talked to Bill about that. I didn't realize that was our actual policy, that the voicemails will not be taken after hours. And I'm not quite sure why.
My understanding, they should be going through dispatch.
They should, but if it's not an emergency thing, it's something we want to look at tomorrow or something like that, then can they not leave a voicemail if it's after hours?
Kind of like when you call the doctor.
Yeah,
This is an emergency, call 911, otherwise leave a
Exactly.
message.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, because it can be confusing if, because a lot of people don't like to call 911 for something like this, whether it is a dog running around or not. They're like, that's not an emergency.
Yeah.
So it's, I can understand why they don't have it activated, because you don't want people just randomly leaving messages on there when they should be calling dispatch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If they call for an emergency message and they leave it there, and then the ACOs don't
Yeah, they're not going to hear
have
that
access
call
to
today.
it, yeah.
Okay.
More importantly, I'd like to see possibly if they wanted to send an email, there would be like some sort of way to email box. That would probably be better.
Well, let's look at it and see
Yeah.
what our options are.
Yeah, we talked about this last week, so,
Yeah. And kind of along with that, there needs to be some education done with dispatch and the public regarding what constitutes an actual animal control emergency, so we'll be working on that as well. It was reported that some citizens continue to have issues with the shelter gate not being open throughout regular working hours. Part of it, that's due because we have two ACOs they might be cleaning kennels, or they might both be out on calls and there's nobody there, so they have to keep the gate closed. And so, but it's the opinion of the committee that this will be remedied once we have a full-time shelter director in place. So,
I
and
think our
that's,
hours are going to be 9 to 4.
yeah,
out there.
and we know that's coming soon. So, and that's my report. I'd like to submit for approval and
make the motion to
make the
approve.
motion that you accept my report of the Animal Control Committee.
All right, there's a second, all right, Magistrate Ellis is the second. Any discussion on Magistrate Sleeper's report? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Motion carries. Well done.
Some other items, this past week, Judge Bottom and our ACO officers, Elias Elbridge and Jessica Joseph and myself, attended the Making a Difference Now Reimagining Animal Welfare Conference in Lexington. It was excellent. A lot of it dealt with building relationships and communicating resources let me pause for just a moment. We were like celebrities up there because we were the only one of 2 counties that had elected officials and AC officers there. There was one other judge executive, and there was, I think, 1 or 2 possibly other AC officers. So they thought they treated us like we were royalty because they were so greatly appreciated because the elected officials are not attending these things, and they really need to be. So I think we put a good face on Boyle County. There were a lot of people coming up to us and wanting to know what we were doing and things like that. So another topic that was prominent was the linkage between animal violence and neglect that goes on into human violence, neglect, and abuse. And there's quite a link in that, a direct link. And so if you're aware of of animal neglect and violence going on, be sure to be aware, report it, because it could lead to even more serious consequences. And they gave numerous examples of that, which were pretty heart-wrenching, some of them. We also talked about language barriers in educational, promotional materials and presentations and such for animal welfare programs and such. And we, of course, Spanish-speaking community, that was brought up a lot, and I brought up the fact that we have a unique language barrier situation with our deaf community. We have a sizable deaf community with KSD here, so I brought that up, and they wanted me to talk about that, which I was taken off guard a little bit, but anyway, he did that. And
Major Sleeper actually got stage time, so I mean, he was a celebrity.
Sorry. And I wanted stage time to talk about what our animal care advisory committee was doing, and they didn't give me that, except in the breakout session. I did get to talk about it extensively, so, but not at the general conference sessions. There are, again, a lot of people wanting to know what our Citizen Advisory Committee is doing. They want to start similar things, and a lot of networking, a lot of sharing of resources and information. So it was a very worthwhile conference. Our CACAC, Citizens Advisory, or Animal Care and Control Advisory Committee, met last evening, and we have our secretary, William Raines, with us in the audience today. And most of the bulk of the time was taken up, our ACO, Jessica Joseph, was in attendance, and there were a lot of questions pointed at Jessica, and she fielded them all very well. She really gave good information, and there was, there were questions coming from the Humane Society, the rescues, and fostering folks, all the way around. And there was one woman in attendance who was amazed when she heard what all our ACO officers do. She had, I think, probably a somewhat negative image, and she came away from there and she expressed verbally that she was amazed at what they do, and she had a greater appreciation and respect for what our ACOs are doing. So that was gratifying to see that happen. It was reported by our ACO in attendance that there has been a quote-unquote amazing flow of cooperation between the different entities involved. So that is really good to see, the collaboration going on there. And so we're also, I think our primary goals going in the near term are getting more education out there to the public. That's vital. Looking at our community big event, getting a date set for that, such. And there was one other thing. Was there another one, William?
With social media pages.
Social media
who
pages,
is
yeah.
controlling that.
The committee would like to have its own Facebook page, because there's a lot of information that they can put out that, and people have been unaware, of what's going on. So, so that's, would it be appropriate, correct?
I don't know. I think we need to look at having a county Facebook page that's administered by citizens. There is a question. I think we need to get a reading, a ruling, maybe talk to Jenny and Chris about that. I don't know, since they're a county formed committee. I did file an animal, I did make an animal control Facebook page that maybe they could be a minister. I don't know yet, and I do need to probably have to call Rich on that. I have a feeling they're going to say it's not good best practice to have citizens running a government functioned committee page, but I'll talk to Rich and have something at the next meeting.
Could they run it through us though?
I don't
maybe?
know, I'll find out
You
what
know.
we can and can't do, just so we're following protocol. I'm just not sure.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah.
ACO Jessica Joseph did complete her Kentucky training, and so congratulations to her on that. I attended the comprehensive plan meeting at the City Hall. Commissioner was there as well. Sears, yes, thank you. I've only known him for 30 years.
Happens to me all the time.
I knew you the name you were gonna call. I wanted to make sure.
There was like 12 people there, counting us and Joe Black, and so, I mean, there were good ideas expressed and information and concerns and such, but really, people need to attend these things.
So they're telling me, people are telling me they don't know about it, and so they've already have something planned and they can't come. They're like, so I don't know what our advertising of it's been, but I don't know if we could do another round.
I know it's been all over social media.
Social
I don't know about as far as the newspaper, and it's been on the radio.
Radio, I mean,
I don't know
really.
how else you could do it.
It's hard
Yeah,
to reach
it
people.
is.
I mean, it's the people that are interested are going to show, and it's pretty much what you're seeing is the same,
Right.
same kind
Same.
of groups that are showing up
Right.
and working.
It's been on our Facebook,
So-
it's been on our website,
Yeah.
since it started, so.
And some people don't even know what a comprehensive plan is.
Yeah.
So
Oh, right.
that's part of
Well,
it.
that's true.
Yeah.
So it's, when you use government words,
But I always
It's
go
kind
on
of-
and expound when I tell them, I'm like, this is what the future of our county's gonna look like in 5 years, 10 years, you know, let's look at it.
Right.
do you want a road through your neighborhood is really what you have to say, and then
Yeah.
it'll show.
Do you want a subdivision next to your farm?
Yeah, yeah.
Do you want a Dollar General at this place?
Yeah.
That's really what it comes down
That's
to.
what that's-
So, anyway.
All right.
Also, I got 2 more things.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Keep going.
He's at his time limit.
He has some of mine.
I was
He's
gonna
so
you got none
busy.
left.
Oh, I got lots of time.
Yeah, sure you go.
You're using Jamie's time
No,
apparently.
I defer.
Jamie just passed, so.
No, I had to go.
He saw his list, that's why.
He's like flipping papers over here.
Magistrate Ellis
Bound?
and Judge Bob and I attended the baby box dedication
Yes.
at the fire station. What a tremendous benefit that will be to our community to allow mothers in crisis, new mothers to provide a safe way to surrender their infant to safe and with anonymity. So,
One of the most moving things I've
Yes.
ever attended.
Yeah.
yeah.
Very excited to see that.
Yeah,
too.
Monica Kelsey's story, life story was truly amazing. If you have not heard it, go online and look up Baby Box and read her story. Anyway, last item is I had a citizen approach me this past weekend, and he wanted me to express publicly his family's appreciation for response that the Parks and Rec folks did with an injury to a child in their family. He was just truly appreciative and said they responded so well, and he greatly appreciated that. I wanted me to express that publicly.
Very good.
So it's good to hear, we hear a lot of the bad, but
Yeah.
it's good to hear some good things.
That's great.
So,
Judge,
Yes.
sorry, this was hiding under this.
Oh, my goodness.
Wondered when you were gonna submit.
I was just like, oh, that's right, it's here. Anyway, real quick, can I submit this real
Sure.
quick? All right, so EMS committee met this morning, myself, Tim Bryant, Mo, Mike Rogers, and Terry, and then we had guests from Danville Counseling Center. 86.5 online training hours, cardiac arrest and post-cardiac arrest care, 9 in-person classes, yearly medical compliance training has been done, first responder mental health training is what we heard from Danville Counseling Center. 2 new EMTs are going through new hire orientation. Yearly cardiac arrest review, overall survival rate 12% to 14%, up from 4% last year, which is great. Increase in key performance metrics from this time last year. There's been some community outreach that our EMS group is doing. They've been to Woodlawn, Millennium Park meet and greet, Tolliver meet and greet, Touch a Truck, DCA meet and greet, and then the regional job fair. So, and I submit this for you
Okay, motion by Magistrate Cullen, second.
No, you need to sign that.
I didn't sign.
Second.
Second by Magistrate Gay. All those in favor of approving the report, signify by saying aye.
We're not having lunch here, is that what it is?
Any opposed, nay? Motion carries.
Thank you, sorry.
Okay, all right, Julie, do you have anything? Okay. County Attorney?
I do. Just to remind Jenny Irwin, I'm the Assistant County Attorney. I handle the DNA and child support dockets here. You all should have all received, Daniel Cameron, Attorney General, sends out the Kentucky Open Records and Open Meetings Act on the record, giving Judge a copy of that.
Thank you.
And then you each need to sign and return the certificate or receipt of distribution. So I'll just pass that around if you all take a few minutes at the end of the meeting to sign that and return that to me. But I think everything else we have has already been covered.
All right, well, thank you
Got
very
from
much.
our office.
I will close this down. Magistrate Cullen had asked about Norfolk and the Buster Pike Bridge, and so I'd already announced that. I am pleased to report that we have a letter awarding us FEMA reimbursement. And we have been awarded $65,061.74 from FEMA, which is 75% of the total award. The state award will be $10,409.87, and that's a total of $75,471.61. And this is from the March windstorm that we're getting reimbursed for. The burden, or the remaining part, will be our part at $11,277.36. So happy to see that come in. Rusty shared that with me yesterday. He could not be here today, so I wanted to share that with you all. Health fair for county employees is Friday, starting at 7. Is that right?
7 a.m.
7, okay. So if you haven't made your appointment, see Shannon, and she will give you a time to be there. Our employee picnic that we had last weekend, all my weekends are running together, was a huge success, and thank everyone that was able to attend. I know some of you were out of town, or you were working on something else, and you just, it was the beginning of fall break, and so it wasn't a real ideal day to have it, but we had about 70 people there, employees and department heads, and so it was a really good time. Sirens we talked about. Okay, the jail facility workshop will be October the 19th at 9 a.m. Here. And yeah, here. And I believe that that's all I had. We talked about Forkland, we talked about Parksville, the comp plans. So I believe that's all that I have, and we want to adjourn in memory of Anita Pike today.
Move that we adjourn in her memory.
Okay, have a motion by Magistrate Gay, second by Magistrate Bodner. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? We're adjourned. Thank you all.
11:30 appointment, yes.